All right, so let's get right into it. We're always told that power is this ladder you have to climb, that a legacy means being bigger and better than the person who came before you. But what if that's all wrong? Today, we're diving into a totally different philosophy, a really fascinating system from the Arreqqana culture. It's a system where the goal isn't to rise higher, it's just to endure. This is the story of the unbroken house.
And this quote, this is the vow at the absolute heart of everything they believe. And right away, you can feel the contradiction, can't you? It suggests that the biggest threat to your legacy isn't some enemy at the gates, it's the ambition of the very people who are supposed to protect it. It just completely flips the script on what success even means.
So that's the big question for us today, right? What does it actually mean to keep a legacy from breaking? How do you build a system that's designed for endurance, not for glory? What does that even look like? Well, to get the answer, we first have to understand the specific danger this whole vow was created to stop. To really get the genius behind this system, we have to look at the problem it was built to solve. We need to understand the huge risk that comes with building a legacy around this idea of constantly ascending.
Okay, check this out. This slide really lays it all bare. On the left, you've got the way we normally think about it. Every new generation tries to top the last one, pulling all the power to a single point at the top. It becomes rigid, hard, and brittle. But Matabera's vow? It turns that completely upside down. It's not about becoming more powerful, it's about preserving a function, about spreading out the pressure, and most importantly, staying flexible.
And here's exactly why that flexibility is so important. Because houses built on the idea of ascending always seem to break in the same three ways. First, all the power gets concentrated at the top, and pretty soon resentment starts building down below. Next, traditions get so stiff and ceremonial that they become totally meaningless. And maybe saddest of all, the next generation doesn't inherit a family, they inherit this crushing weight. So this isn't just some abstract philosophy, it is a hardcore survival strategy.
So, who came up with this whole thing? The architect was the founder, Marravva, and she didn't build a castle or a throne. No, she designed something way more dynamic, way more resilient. She created what's called a tide system. Yeah, they actually called her Marravva the Steadfast Tide. And get this, it wasn't because she was some great conqueror. It's because she was an anchor. She understood that the power of a tide isn't in a constant climb. It's in the rhythm, the ebb, and the flow. And her entire house was built on that very idea. And she didn't do it alone. The house was founded on this union of three. It's a structure based on function, not a simple hierarchy. Marravva was the anchor, holding it all together. Her husband, Kevaran, was the navigator, plotting the course ahead. And her companion wife, Selunava, was the mother of memory, the one who preserved their history and their purpose. Each one had a vital job. No one part was more important than the others. And from that union, they had 3 daughters. But here's the brilliant part. They weren't raised to compete for the top spot. They were raised to branch out. Saravven became the law, Quellamara became the voice, and Narav, the flame. This idea of branching out instead of fighting for the center is absolutely key to how this whole thing still works today. Okay, so let's fast forward to the present day, where this whole complex, incredible system is basically embodied by 2 people. They are the living, breathing proof of Marravva's design. You've got the anchor that holds everything down, and you've got the wave that keeps everything moving. And here they are. On the left, you have Jarru. He comes from the line of law, and his entire job is to be the house's structural continuity. He's the one who absorbs all the shocks, holds things steady, usually from behind the scenes. And then you have Peppi. She is pure motion. She's got the charisma, the energy, even the chaos that's needed to keep things from getting stale. He holds, she moves. They are literally 2 halves of the exact same vow. Jarru's role is so important it actually has a formal legal name, Kesama Ra Kiyaya. It literally translates to holding the house in place. But notice this crucial difference. His job is to provide structural weight, not to centralized power. He's not the king on the throne. He's more like the foundation under the floor, spreading out the pressure so that nothing above him can possibly break. So you've got these 2 totally opposite forces, right? One is all about stillness. The other is constant motion. How on earth does that create stability instead of just chaos? Well, the answer is in one of the system's core metaphors, the braid. And it all comes back to Marravva's most important rule, Na Kasor, do not harden. She knew that a house doesn't break because it's weak, it breaks because it becomes too rigid to bend. Survival is all about flexibility.
And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. Step 1. Jarru holds. He takes the hits, he absorbs the pressure, both from the inside and the outside. Step 2. Peppi moves. She channels all that energy, all that emotion, and she forces change, releasing the tension. And the result of that dance? The house endures. It's a braid that flexes right at the point where a rigid chain of command would just snap into.
Now, here's the wild part. The real-world result of this dynamic is this thing they call quiet immunity. Because their whole purpose is to serve the house, not themselves. The house itself starts to protect them. Any challenges against them just sort of lose steam. Insults don't stick. The system just naturally reinforces the very thing that keeps it stable. It's incredible. And you actually see this play out perfectly. There's this one scene where a rival tries to call out Jarru's authority, but the court genealogist just shuts it down with this one line. The court doesn't care about your ambition. It cares about stability. It cares that the house is still standing. And just like that, Jarru wins the entire argument without saying a single word. So what's the end game here? If the goal isn't fame or power or conquering your enemies, what does victory even look like in Marravva's system? To get it, we have to totally rethink what a successful legacy really is.
The first thing we have to understand, and this is so important, is that their legacy is not a monument. It's not some stone statue in a park. It's not a famous story about a great battle. It's something so much more alive and, honestly, so much more profound than that.
Their legacy is the crisis that they managed to avoid, the political storm that they weathered. Their legacy is the single season, the single moment where everything could have shattered into a million pieces but didn't. Think about that. Their victory is measured by what didn't happen. And that is a powerful, powerful achievement. And that brings us right back to Marravva's simple, brilliant wisdom. If the house still holds you, you are doing enough. Success isn't about what you take for yourself. It's about the simple fact that the structure you serve is still standing, and that it's still strong enough to support you too. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? In a world that is obsessed with getting bigger, stronger, more dominant, what if we've been measuring strength the wrong way this whole time? What if the most powerful legacy of all isn't the one that breaks everything in its path, but the one that is simply, skillfully, and stubbornly unbroken?